The submersible, the Titan, that departed last week to explore the ruins of the Titanic is still missing, and at this point, the crew members on board have run out of air. Today, I will be talking about the Titan, what went wrong, the safety corners that were cut, and theories as to what happened to this craft. On Sunday, June 18th, the Titan submersible began its descent to the Titanic wreck from St. John's, Newfoundland. On board were 5 individuals: British-Pakistani businessman Shahzada Dawood and his son Suleiman, British billionaire and pilot Hamish Harding, the pilot of the submersible Paul Henry, and chief executive of the OceanGate Expeditions, Stockton Rush. Everyone except for Hamish and Stockton had to pay $250,000 for this trip, which ultimately led to their demise. About 2 hours into the descent, the submersible lost contact with the surface vessel. Now, the purpose of this trip was to explore the Titanic wreckage, which is badly decaying. This vessel would be reaching over 12,000 feet to reach the Titanic, which in itself is a very big problem. More on this shortly. The Titan is operated by OceanGate Expeditions. It's a US-based organization that describes itself as, and I quote, an ocean exploration venture focused on providing crewed submersible services to enable researchers and explorers to access the ocean's vast resources, adding that it plans to evolve methods to lower the costs of such explorations. According to OceanGate, the submersible was designed so that it could remain underwater for 96 hours, meaning the 5 members on board had until Thursday morning to survive down there before their air supply ran out. The craft is about the size of a minivan. There's very limited space for passengers. Occupants sit on a flat floor and rest against the vessel's curved interior walls. You can't really move and you can't stand at all. Now, the vessel was equipped with food, water, and a rudimentary toilet. The Titan is the largest deep diving submersible, and OceanGate said that it incorporates unmatched safety features. But this is very controversial. A lot of people say that this vessel wasn't ready for the dive and was not safe at all. In the event of an emergency, the Titan is equipped with safety mechanisms that will help bring it to the surface. Only problem is, the Titan is sealed from the outside with bolts. This was done to prevent occupants from exiting unassisted if it resurfaced. According to documents submitted by OceanGate to a U.S. District Court in Virginia overseeing Titanic-related matters, the Titan has the capability to dive to a depth of 4 kilometers safely. During this filing, OceanGate stated that the Titan had already completed over 50 dive tests, including dives equivalent to the depths of the Titanic. These test dives took place in deep waters near the Bahamas and in a pressure chamber. Before going on board, all passengers had to sign a waiver that mentioned death 3 times just on the opening page. So they all knew the risks that were associated with this expedition. Here's where it all went wrong. OceanGate is not a new company. They've been trying to do this expedition for a long time. But back in 2018, experts raised major security concerns and warned them not to do it. The American Bureau of Shipping, a leading classifier of submersibles, and the European group DNV, an independent quality assurance and risk management company that sets standards for the design safety of underwater vehicles, both warned them against it, among others. In fact, as part of the waiver that you sign, it literally says that the submersible was an experimental vessel that had not been approved or certified by any regulatory body, which could result in physical injury, emotional trauma, or death. It had not been approved. Not only that, but passengers that took a trip in 2001 came back saying that, yeah, it was not safe. He said, and I quote, "No, it was not safe. You cannot stand, you cannot kneel, you only sit for 10.5 hours in the same situation. It was so small, nothing was comfortable." Not only that, but another passenger that took a trip just last year, Mike Riaz, said, and I quote, "They're learning as they go along. Things go wrong. I've taken 3 different dives with this company and you almost always lose communication." Despite all the backlash and push to not go through with this, they still did. Now, let's talk about the trip. After the submersible lost connection, it was scheduled to resurface several hours later at 3 p.m. It never did. By Monday, US and Canadian ships and planes were swarming the area. doing all that they could to try and find this vessel. They know that the passengers are losing oxygen by the second. On Tuesday, underwater equipment detected banging sounds in 30-minute intervals underwater by the area that they had disappeared. The problem is, even if they did locate the vessel underwater, it would be near impossible to get them out of the water. The vessel was likely on the ocean floor. It weighs about 23,000 pounds. Pulling that out of water from the bottom of the ocean is crazy difficult. You're going against the ocean's buoyancy and the ocean's pressures. The Titan is a battery-operated watercraft. Given that it lost all contact with the surface vessel, it's thought that it had suffered a power failure, meaning that they were lost underwater in the pitch black in a small confined space. Now, here are some theories as to what happened to the vessel. 1, it simply lost power and it ended up at the bottom of the ocean. 2, that the craft actually imploded due to the ocean's pressure and it collapsed into pieces. An implosion could occur if any part of the submersible's carbon fiber and titanium hull had suffered a small crack or fault. Where they're traveling to, the water pressure on any object is roughly 376 times greater than that exerted by Earth's atmosphere. According to Australian robotics professor Stephen B. Williams, that level of danger makes the margin of error small. He said, and I quote, "Although the Titan's composite hull is built to withstand intense deep-sea pressures, any defect in its shape or build could compromise its integrity, in which there's a risk of implosion." Theory 3 is that the vessel actually surfaced and it was just lost. Remember that there's no way for them to open up the vessel from the inside. They need to wait for someone to rescue them and then unbolt it from the outside. At this point, they've already run out of air, so if they are found, it's far too late. Theory 4 is that they actually did make it to the ruins of the Titanic, but because of the Titanic's age and condition, it collapsed on them. Now, the banging that they heard was from around the area that the Titanic is. Is it possible that they made it there, were exploring the area, and had the Titanic collapse onto them, pinning them down and not being able to move? Theory 5 is that the Titanic is cursed. There's a long-running urban legend that the Titanic was cursed, and that's because a cursed mummy was on board the ship. The unlucky mummy is the name of a wooden mummy board of an unknown woman, which was once displayed at a museum, but it caused really weird and paranormal things to happen at the museum. Staff would hear loud banging coming from the artifact, and deep unhappiness to anyone who came in contact with it. It has also been blamed for death, illnesses, and bankruptcy, so it's really bad luck. So the museum got rid of the mummy board, and as a result, an American archaeologist took the mummy board with him on the Titanic. So now it's thought that the cursed mummy and its bad luck is what caused the Titanic to sink, and maybe it also cursed the Titan. Theory 6 was that it was all planned. Remember that these people on board are wealthy businessmen. Theory goes that they faked their own death so that they could disappear. When you have that kind of money, people are always after you. Maybe they did it for safety reasons or they pissed off the wrong person, who knows? In the end, it's very tragic as to what happened to this vessel and the 5 members on board. Even if they do eventually find the craft, the passengers have already run out of oxygen and are sadly dead by now. Alright folks, that's all for today's video. Excuse the backdrop, I am literally moving. This is my new studio, so I'm currently decorating it, but if you like this video, make sure you check out my other spooky videos and smash that like button for me. And just a reminder, I'm doing a huge giveaway at 100K, so you have to be subscribed. Okay folks, that's all. I've been your host, Lindsay Ivan, and I'll see you when I see ya.